In December of 1987, the cover of Car and Driver magazine ran a single headline above a photograph of a completely black, completely badgeless, two-door Buick coupe. The headline read, "Lord Vader, your car is ready." Inside the magazine, a test driver named Chaba Cherry had taken that black Buick to a closed-course test facility and run it through the same instrumented testing the magazine used for every supercar that crossed their desk. 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. Quarter mile in 12.7 seconds at 113 miles per hour. Those numbers were faster than the 1987 Chevrolet Corvette, faster than the Porsche 911 Turbo, faster than the Lamborghini Countach, faster, when later tested against it, than the Ferrari F40. The car running those numbers was not a sports car. It was not a supercar. It was a Buick Regal, the American grandfather car, the car your dentist drove.
The 1987 Buick GNX. Today we're walking through the story of how Buick, the most conservative division of General Motors, the brand most associated with retirement homes and golf courses, built the fastest American production car of the entire 1980s, and how they did it specifically to embarrass Chevrolet's Corvette. Hit subscribe before we get into it and drop your next muscle car pick in the comments. The story starts with a problem Buick was facing in the mid-1980s. The rear-wheel drive G-body platform that underpinned the Regal was being phased out. General Motors had decided to move the entire division toward front-wheel drive cars. The Regal was scheduled to be replaced for the 1988 model year by a front-wheel drive coupe that nobody at Buick Engineering was particularly excited about. The end of the rear-wheel drive Regal also meant the end of the Grand National program, the turbocharged performance variant that had been quietly building a cult following since 1988. By 1986, the Buick Grand National was already faster than the Corvette in a straight line. The 3.8-liter V6, turbocharged and intercooled, was producing 235 horsepower in stock form. The 1986 Grand National ran 0 to 60 in approximately 4.8 seconds and the quarter mile in 13.9 seconds. The 1986 Corvette, with its 5.7-liter V8 producing 230 horsepower, was actually slower. For the first time in modern history, a regular production Buick was outperforming Chevrolet's Halo sports car. The Corvette engineers were unhappy. The Chevrolet division was unhappy. GM Corporate started pressuring Buick to detune the Grand National to protect the Corvette's reputation. Buick's response was to build a car that would embarrass the Corvette one more time before the platform died forever. Chief engineer Dave Sharp at Buick approached a company called ASC McLaren. ASC McLaren was a specialty engineering firm based in Livonia, Michigan, that had partnered with various automakers on limited production, high-performance projects. Sharp's brief to McLaren were specific. Take a fully loaded 1987 Grand National, modify it as aggressively as possible while keeping it street legal. Build the fastest American production car of the year. Build it specifically to send the rear-wheel drive Regal program out with a statement. ASC McLaren agreed to the project. Buick committed to producing 547 examples for the 1987 model year. The cars would be assembled as standard Grand Nationals at the Buick plant in Pontiac, Michigan, then shipped to ASC McLaren's facility in Livonia for the GNX conversion. The name stood for Grand National Experimental. The modifications were extensive. The turbocharger was upgraded to a larger Garrett T3 unit with a ceramic-coated turbine wheel that could handle higher exhaust temperatures. The intercooler was enlarged for better cooling efficiency. The engine management computer was reprogrammed with new fuel and timing maps. The internal exhaust manifold was redesigned. The transmission, the GM 200-4R 4-speed automatic, received a heavy-duty torque converter and revised internals. The rear suspension was completely re-engineered with a new torque arm and panhard rod system to control axle hop under hard launches. The wheels were upgraded to 16-inch black mesh BBS-style units. Functional heat-extracting vents were added to the front fenders. Composite flared wheel arches replaced the standard Grand National sheet metal. Every Buick badge, every Grand National emblem, every trace of the car's regular production identity was removed or blacked out. The result was a vehicle that looked like a stealth bomber on wheels. The factory horsepower rating was 276 horsepower at 4,400 RPM and 360 pound-foot of torque at 3,000 RPM. Period dyno testing and modern measurements consistently put the actual output at over 300 horsepower and over 420 pound-foot of torque. The 276 horsepower number was a deliberate corporate decision. GM management at the time was not willing to publicly admit that a Buick V6 was producing more horsepower than the Corvette's V8.
The conservative rating allowed Chevrolet to keep claiming the Corvette as GM's flagship performance car on paper, even though every magazine that tested both cars knew the Buick was faster. When Car and Driver tested the GNX in late 1987, the numbers came out exactly as Buick had hoped. 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, quarter mile in 12.7 seconds at 113.1 miles per hour. The contemporary Corvette ran the quarter mile in approximately 14.2 seconds. The GNX was a full second and a half faster on the quarter mile than the most expensive production Chevrolet on the market. It was also faster than the Porsche 944 Turbo, the BMW M3, and the Ford Mustang GT 5.0. Later comparisons against the Ferrari F40 showed the GNX running competitive numbers against a car that cost approximately 10 times more.
Buick priced the GNX at $29,299. The 1987 Corvette base price was $27,999. For roughly $1,300 more than a Corvette, a buyer could own a car that would absolutely destroy the Corvette in any drag race ever held. The pricing was deliberate. Buick wanted the GNX to be priced just above the Corvette to make the comparison unavoidable. Every buyer who walked into a showroom in 1987 looking at Corvettes was implicitly being asked, "Why are you paying this money for a slower car?"
547 GNX units were built. The last one rolled off the ASC McLaren line in December of 1987. Buick discontinued the rear-wheel drive Regal at the end of the model year. The Grand National was gone. The GNX was gone. The 1988 Regal was a front-wheel drive coupe with a normally aspirated V6 that made less than half the GNX's horsepower. The performance era of Buick was officially over. In the decades that followed, the GNX developed one of the most devoted cult followings of any American performance car ever built. The nickname Corvette Killer stuck. The all-black aesthetic, the limited production numbers, the underdog story of a Buick beating a Corvette, all combined to make the GNX one of the most coveted American collector cars from the 1980s. By the early 2010s, original GNX examples were selling at auction for over $100,000. By 2019, prices crossed $200,000. In 2024, when Kendrick Lamar named his album GNX after the car and drove one onto the Super Bowl 59 halftime stage in front of 120 million viewers, the cultural moment pushed values even higher.
Pristine examples now regularly sell for between $200,000 and $500,000. The GNX is one of the cleanest examples of a corporate strategy that almost never happens. A junior division embarrassing the flagship division of the same parent company. Buick wasn't supposed to be faster than Chevrolet. The Regal wasn't supposed to outperform the Corvette. The conservative grandfather brand wasn't supposed to build the fastest American production car of the 1980s. But Buick engineers, watching their performance program get shut down by corporate strategy, decided to leave a permanent mark. They built 547 cars that would prove forever that a Buick V6 with a turbocharger could humiliate a Chevrolet V8 with twice the displacement. GM didn't celebrate the GNX. They didn't promote it. They didn't continue the program. The decision to stop building rear-wheel drive performance Buicks was made at the highest levels of the corporation. But the cars Buick built in the final year of the platform have outlasted every reasonable corporate decision GM has made since. The 1987 Buick GNX is now worth more, sells more often at major auctions, and is celebrated by more enthusiasts than virtually any Corvette from the same era. The Buick that embarrassed every Corvette on the drag strip didn't just embarrass the Corvette in 1987, it's still embarrassing the Corvette today,
38 years later. Every time one crosses an auction block for triple what a comparable C4 Corvette will bring. If this is the kind of story you want more of, hit subscribe. Drop your next muscle car pick in the comments, and we'll see you on the next one.